You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hey there, welcome to episode 23. It is September already. How did it get here so fast? I know some of you all out there are wishing 2020 would hurry up and end. I'm actually not one of them. I am learning so much from this year we are in. Seriously, such opportunity for growth. I actually want to do an episode about that very topic in the near future, so I'll reserve further commentary on the matter until I can get all of my thoughts together on that one soon. I'm sure you can't wait for it. In the meantime, today's topic is somewhat related because I want to talk about all of the ways that we generate our own misery. I want you to see that this is a choice that you are making. This also complements episode 18, There is No Better Than Here. If you haven't heard that one, I highly recommend it. When I think about some of my most miserable moments in life, they've usually been related to my workplace, if I'm being honest. And why not be honest? Damn, if more of us could be like Jim Carrey and Liar Liar, how fun would that be? Okay, maybe not brutally honest like that character was, but just simple honesty. But we don't do that, and we don't feel that we can do that because of our domestication, because of our conditioning, because of the way we are supposed to behave. And of course, there's that added pressure of trading your time for a paycheck. There is certainly an element of expected behavior that you need to exhibit if you would like to continue receiving that deposit into your bank account. We have periodic performance appraisals to tell us whether we're doing a good job or not, to tell us whether we are meeting or exceeding expectations. We want to score high on those so we can get a little more money in that paycheck that we are trading our time in exchange for, our precious time. Because we use that money to pay our bills, to keep a roof over our heads, to keep food on the table, clothing on our backs, to keep the lights on, the essential things. Then, if we want the creature comforts like heating and air, cell service, Wi-Fi, Netflix, you know this. I don't need to tell you this. I just want you to know that I get it too. I have had my hard times along the way where I could barely rub two nickels together. So please believe me when I say that I do understand that the struggle is real. So here you are in this job that you absolutely hate, reporting to a manager that you absolutely cannot stand reporting to, and you probably have a few coworkers that you find it difficult to get along with for good measure, just for the cherry on top. You drag yourself into work. You dread every minute of the commute. Maybe that itself is another layer on a mountain of insults. You have to drive for an hour or more every day back and forth to a place you can't stand to be, interacting with people you would rather not be around at all if given the choice, and doing all of that for 40 hours per week or more. That doesn't include the commute time. And all of this just makes you feel miserable. Day in and day fucking out. You hate it so much that you spend any spare time that you have looking for another job because surely it's better there than here. Anything would be better than this. Except it's not going to be. It's not going to be better because you're still taking your monkey mind with you. This job or that one, this manager or that one. Your brain is still going along for the ride. Let's break it down. Let's say you have a thought about the way that your manager behaves. Perhaps she shuts herself in her office and pounds the keyboard all day, telling everyone who will listen how very busy she is. Maybe every time you try to approach her and ask if there's something you can do to help, she responds by seeming irritated that you interrupted her from her important work. She's short with you. She's curt, abrupt. Everything about her body language and tone of voice, her mannerisms, all convey the unspoken message, "You're bothering me." And you think to yourself, if she would just delegate, we could get more done. I'm perfectly qualified to do this work. In fact, I'm overqualified. What the fuck am I even doing here? Then you feel miserable. Now, I want you to see that it isn't the way your manager behaves that makes you feel miserable. It's your thoughts about her, you, and the entire situation. Her, you, the entire situation, your thoughts. Because you think if she would just delegate, I'm overqualified to do this work. What the fuck am I even doing here? First of all, you don't get to control her behaviors or any other human for that matter. I know you'd really like to. How's that working for you? You can't transmit your thoughts to her of all of the ways that she could be a better leader. As amazing as it would be to wave a magic wand and change the parts of another person that aren't exactly lining up with your ideals, it's not going to happen. Trust me, I've tried all of the things. The only mind that you can manage is your own. So why do we try so hard to change everyone else around us? I mean, that's rather superior of us, isn't it? To think that we can do it better? To think that if someone else would just act right, our version of right, that our experience would improve? But no, they have to do it wrong and piss us off, make us miserable. So your boss is just a bitch. That's what we've established here. At least that's how it's playing out in your movie. You give up. Again, you go commiserate with your coworkers about it, and of course they agree with you, because what you're saying makes perfect sense, and they are miserable too, after all. In fact, they've been miserable even longer than you have, because you haven't been on the team but for a few months. They'll even tell you that they've tried everything and it's a losing battle. Now you all get to wallow together in your misery. Maybe even toast to it come happy hour. The key in all of this is, where is your focus? Well, your focus is on what you believe to be fact, that your manager sucks. She doesn't interact with you or anyone else. She just sits in her office half the time with the door closed and busies herself with whatever administrative functions that she finds more important than, well, managing. Everything I just mentioned here is a neutral circumstance except for one thing. Can you tell what it is? Your coworkers are going to agree with all of this. Yep, it's true. And all of the things I just stated about her behavior are true. Yes, indisputable facts, all except the part where she sucks as a manager. That's your thought. That's your opinion. But because you can get a group of people to agree with you, you all start to believe it as fact. Here's where I'm going to insert a little lesson on how our brains work. Our restless little monkey minds are never satisfied until things are going just the way we think they should. Your brain has to take in and then process a lot of information at once to keep it from exploding. Ha! I'm envisioning smoke coming out of our ears right now. It has to apply filters so that it only processes what you deem is important. That is determined by your beliefs, formed, of course, over time and through all of the conditioning that you have been exposed to that ultimately determines what's right and wrong. No, your brain isn't going to explode without this filtering system, but it may be overwhelmed and not function correctly. So this system is called the reticular activating system. Now that's a mouthful, so I'm going to refer to it going forward as RAS. R-A-S. Matteo Tabatabai explains how the RAS works in his book, The Mind-Made Prison. Quote, "This means that you're only experiencing a small percentage of the external world at any given time, and you're stripping away all the other impulses as unimportant." End quote. And so the impulses he's referring to here are the messages to your brain. Your brain determines what is important to you based on the beliefs and values that you have formed. Let's say you have the belief that managers who don't interact with their team in a certain way or for a certain amount of time just suck as managers. Well, the RAS not only filters out anything that doesn't align with that belief, it goes a step further and provides evidence to prove you are correct. In this example I'm giving, you can easily find people to agree with you because they have the same belief and their brains are going to work in the same way or very similar. And proving your original thought that this manager of yours sucks. That's what brains do. They're just running the program that you have coded in over time. Imagine your brain saying, "Oh, I see you want me to launch this application or filter for you. Coming right up. Want some evidence to go along with that? I'll find that for you too. It won't even be hard. Don't want to overexert myself because we may need more brain power later. More brain power for something more complex than your thoughts about this manager. So here you go. Served up on a silver platter, my friend. It's really ingenious." Is there a way to change it? Well, sure. First of all, notice what you're thinking. Really notice. So much of our thinking has become subconscious that we don't even really catch on to it. We form judgments about the people around us without even realizing it. Or maybe we do. Maybe you're perfectly fine with thinking that your manager is lousy and holding on to that belief. Just acknowledge that this is what is making you miserable. Your thought about your manager, not her actions or behaviors. Because contrary to the evidence your brain has provided you, her being a lousy manager is not fact. If it were, everyone would agree with you, not just your posse of coworkers in the same group. Turns out there are people in other groups who don't work directly with this person and have no problem at all with her. In fact, they think she's pretty smart. They might even say that she's always been friendly in meetings or other interactions. They're definitely not miserable because of her. Certainly one or more people higher up the chain think she's pretty good or she wouldn't be in that position. You see how your facts are actually manufactured by your brain? Okay, you say you can see that, but you're not willing to give up your values and beliefs around what makes a good manager, and she's not cutting it. Are you willing to let that go? You see what I'm saying? You understand that you could get to work on changing your thoughts, but you just don't want to. Well, here I have good news for you. You get to hold on to those values and beliefs. And also congratulate yourself for opening up to the idea that you might not be right about this person. It's a big deal to open up your mind a little bit because a lot of people don't even consider it. Way to go, seriously. Yet here we are. You still know what your experiences have been. They are what they are. You've decided to keep your values and beliefs around what good leadership is. You like your reasons. Is there any other way out of the misery besides leaving the job altogether? Of course there is. And yes, leaving the job is always an option as well. You simply need to remember that saying that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, or there's the devil that you know. Both of these concepts will keep people at the same job for many years, even if they hate what they do. Because if this manager of yours is the devil that you know, at least she leaves you alone. She may not be providing much leadership as far as you're concerned, but she's not breathing down your neck either, hovering over your desk, asking when that report is going to be done. Of course you have the option to leave. Just remember, no matter where you go, as long as you're working for someone else, you're going to encounter all kinds of people with their own personalities. This includes managers other than the one that you have right now. That's why you need to learn to manage your own damn monkey mind before you make a change like that. Because again, that mind is going to go with you to the next job. It's going to filter out everything but the bad shit and give you lots of evidence for why this is true. Let's return to that focus, shall we? What are you focusing on? If you are only focusing on the aspects of your work environment that you dislike, then yes, you're going to create your own misery from it. Before you change jobs, I want you to challenge yourself to love exactly where you are. Yes, I said love it. When you bring an energy of love, acceptance, and compassion with you, then you begin to see the other humans differently. Don't think you can do that? Well, what are you focused on? Instead of focusing on someone else's behavior that doesn't quite line up with your own values and beliefs, try looking for what's good about the job. Aside from the paycheck itself, of course, you're entitled to that. Maybe you are forming new and interesting relationships with coworkers or clients. Maybe you have the flexibility to work from home on occasion, saving that commute time. Perhaps you have perks like beverage service, free coffee and tea. Sign me up. Listen, this is no joke. I once contracted with state government for several years, and we had to buy our own coffee and drinking water. I am not kidding. When I later had a job in the private sector again, and there was not only free coffee and tea, but also soda, energy drinks, and sparkling water for free, I was amazed. Sometimes it's the smallest things we take for granted. When I suggest shifting focus, I'm not talking about getting all rainbows and unicorns with your personality. Please don't. Especially if that's not who you are. No, you still get to wear your resting bitch face around the office if that's your jam. I just want you to internalize those feelings of love, acceptance, and compassion. Put them in your pocket and carry them around. See how that feels. It's like when you're starting a yoga practice, if you've ever done it. We start the class by setting our intention for this class, this next hour. If you've never done yoga and you couldn't care less, hear me out. This part is still a great practice to try, and you don't even have to follow it up with a single pose. First, you set your intention for the next hour. It can be as simple as, I'm going to push to my edge, I'm going to take every vinyasa, or I'm going to take it easy today. It could be, I will honor my light. Whatever you want your focus to be for the duration. Say it quietly to yourself. Then extend to all of those around you. And in practice, you actually extend your arms for this, and the energy feels great because everyone around you has set their own intention and is sending energy to you. Just takes a moment, a brief moment. Then you just immerse yourself in that intention. I highly recommend it. At the very least, set your intention for your workday. Say it to yourself. I will show up to do my work to the best of my ability. I will focus on the perks that I have. I will enjoy my alone time during the long commute because it gives me space to think. I will enjoy my time at work today because that is where I will be. Whatever you want, set the tone for your day by setting that intention. We get so mechanical with our jobs. Our brains go into automation mode, just driving there and back, doing the same thing every time of each day, performing our functions becomes automatic, something we don't put much thought towards. Our brains get bored and go looking for some drama to create. We find the drama and we find evidence for it. We get other people to agree with us, and before you know it, we're all wallowing together in our misery, our collective misery. We convince ourselves that looking for the next job will make it all better. I honestly believe, and trust me when I say that I didn't always believe this, but I do believe now that there's no good reason to be miserable. I can't find a purpose for it. And that goes with any aspect of your life, by the way. I have used the example of work environment simply because I know that it's a sticking point for a lot of us. When we spend a good chunk of our time working for someone else, it's only natural that this becomes a big part of our lives. And when we wish any part of life would be different than what it is, if it could only be different, when we start hanging our hopes for happiness and contentment on the behavior of the people around us, we only create more internal conflict. We only generate greater misery for ourselves because it's impossible to control the other humans. Yet our brains are leading us to think the same thoughts over and over, then to form the beliefs around those thoughts. Once those beliefs are formed, they become our reality. The RAS kicks in and serves its duty as our filtered lens through which we see ourselves and others. Very often, we are right and they are wrong. Very often, our brains create stories full of villains and we become the victim of what we perceive as circumstances. Whether it's a relationship, your job, or an experience you're having, like flight delays or some other unexpected event, even a news report or a social media post, you have the choice to handle it with grace and understanding. That means extending awareness that this is the moment in which you are living and that it's your choice to enjoy it or make yourself miserable about it. Let me be clear. This is not about being happy all of the time. That's not even possible. As long as your brain is functioning and you go on thinking thoughts on a daily basis, you're going to experience the range of emotions. That's living, my friend. That's what it's all about. Just because I continue to promote love and acceptance and compassion doesn't mean that I view the world like we're all going to lock arms and skip around in a field of daisies. That's fucking ridiculous. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's important to notice your thoughts and your filters. It's important to develop the skill of differentiating between what is true circumstance, which is always, always neutral, and what is really your thought about it. Your thoughts are not without flaws and not free of bias. Notice this. Your thoughts do not equate to reality. Notice this. Look within yourself. Turn your focus inward. That's where the work needs to be. That's where you extend the love and compassion first. Yes, I know that's the hardest part of all, but it's necessary. Because once you learn how to do this, you start to tap into that power and that freedom that is always available to you. You can release the notion that if people around you would just change, that they would just behave differently, you wouldn't be so miserable. That is the truth. That is the work. Now it's time for a Rumi quote. Rumi says, "Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open?" Right. Find the door. The way out is right in front of you. I will close with another short excerpt from Matteo Tabatabai because it's perfectly stated. We have so many automatic reactions, and we still wonder why we are suffering. We walk around in our robotic states, and we don't understand why we don't feel the passion, gratitude, and bliss we have always desired. Your brain is the most powerful piece of machinery here on earth. It can be your greatest helper or your greatest enemy. Whether it is the former or the latter depends on the meanings you have created and are creating at any given point in time. And there is the mic drop. As always, thank you for joining me here today. It is my highest honor to be a part of your journey. I mean that with all sincerity. If you'd like to work with me, I'd love to have a conversation. Visit sunnythelifecoach.com. Click Let's Do This and you'll be on your way. Light up, shine on.